Hi everybody, I'm CoinWeek editor Charles Morgan. I'm at the PCGS booth at the World's Fair of Money in Anaheim, California, where I'm about to take the PCGS Coin Grading Challenge. Now as a collector, I've always assumed that I know how to grade coins, but I've never been tasked to grade coins without the grades already on the holder, or to have a PCGS expert grader sit with me to tell me if I'm right or wrong. I have this box of coins for the next 30 minutes. I'm going to look through them one by one to see if I can get the correct grade. Okay. Okay, up first is a 1902 Indian cent, and this one's mostly red. It's got some brown mellowing in the fields and devices, and a little bit of scuffiness on the chin. While the coin has a lot of original red, a couple spots on the reverse keep this one from being a gem for me. I grade this one MS64 red brown. All right, next up is an 1880 Morgan. New Orleans Mint Morgan dollars tend to come kind of dull and flatly struck, but this one, in my opinion, is fairly nice. It's got a nice satiny sheen to it. Some toning on the obverse and blast white reverse. Reverse is actually pretty clean. This is like a 66 reverse. But the obverse is the most important part of it, and I give this coin an MS65. Up next is a 1936 Washington quarter. This one's obviously in mint state. It's actually really nice. It's a gem Washington quarter. It's free of a lot of detracting marks. Usually you see these coins have some hits in the hair or the forehead, the high points of the cheek, or the bust truncation. But this coin's really clean. A little bit of scattered toning. Some rainbow toning up there in Liberty. But the reverse, although it's equally as nice, it has this kind of dark toning spot in the wing, and to me, I don't know, if I was gonna buy this coin, I think that would be an issue for me. So I'm gonna give this one an MS65. All right, next up is a 1924 St. Gaudens, and these coins typically are pretty baggy. The high point of the relief in the center of the coins usually hit. This coin isn't really so much hit too much, but I'm kind of doubting the color. The reverse of the coin looks mint state to me. It's got a couple copper spots on it. A lot of times uncirculated coins or slider coins, the reverse will be uncirculated while the obverse is not. But in this situation, I think because of the way the color looks to me, it doesn't look natural. I'm actually going to give this coin AU details. Okay, next up is an 1822 half dollar. Now this coin is circulated, that's pretty clear, but there's so much luster on this coin that it's a premium AU in my opinion. As you see, it just swirls. And if I was grading it, I think I'd give it AU58. Okay, next up's another O Mint Morgan dollar. This is an 1885 O. This coin's just beautiful. Look at that luster. Just swirls and swirls of cartwheel going on. It's just some tiny hits in the bust truncation. Cheeks are clean, hair is clean, the reverse is mostly clean. Just light hits. Nothing really distracting for me. A really nice O Mint example. I'll give this coin MS66. Here's another St. Gaudens, it's a 1927. PCGS probably receives more St. Gaudens, Double Eagles, and Morgan Dollars than any other classic coin series. For me to be gem, the coin has to have really clean fields and really clean figure. The eagle in the reverse is nice, and just some slight contact marks on Liberty. But I'm kind of reluctant to give it a gem grade, so I'll give it MS64. And here's a circulated 1805 drape bust half cent, dark chocolate brown color, which is good, but the detail looks to me like it's probably just a very good tin. And here's a 1912 Lincoln cent. It's a pretty high mintage year, but you don't find too many of these coins with this amount of red on it. Mellowing a little bit on the obverse, but I think this is a good 65 red. And here's just a gorgeous 1882 S Morgan dollar. This one's lightly toned on the obverse, but there's no hits to be seen anywhere that's distracting. And the luster just blows you away. It's like you can see a reflection. I'm guessing this is going to be a dimple, and I'm going to give it that grade. MS66 dimple. So here's a 1963 Jefferson nickel proof. It's got some cameo. Not every proof coin from this period had cameo, but as you got into the mid-60s, they were more common. There's not enough cameo here, in my opinion, to get decam because the lettering is soft. But it's a fairly nice coin. Not a 69, however. I give this one a proof 67 cameo. And here's a 1951 S Franklin half dollar. Love Franklin half dollars, but they tend not to come well struck in many of the years, especially S mints. Not a full bell line example, but it's always worth looking. I give this one MS65. Here's a 1904 Liberty Head $20 gold coin. I think this one's lightly circulated because of some discoloration in the hair detail. So I give this an AU55. All right, here's a 1902 Indian head cent, and I'm really on the fence about the color on this coin. It's like a mellow color, and I can't tell if it's been reapplied or if this coin is just sort of seeped out its original red. But it's a really pretty coin, and I'm going to give it an MS65. Next up's an 1878 S trade dollar with some nice toning on it, some nice luster. Does have some deep hits on the obverse in the fields, some similarly deep scratches in the reverse in the fields, and I don't know how much they're going to show up here in the image. Now, trade dollars typically don't come too nice, but I think I'm going to give this one an MS62. Here's a 1937 Indian head nickel. It's an original blast white coin. It's got a little bit of discoloration in the tip of the braid and a light tick on the cheek. But overall, this is nice. No hairlines. Just shimmers in the light. And the reverse is also really nice. So I think I'll give this one a 65. Okay, here's a Walking Liberty half dollar. It's a 43S. So S mints are typically bad, but overall, I hate looking at and grading Walking Liberty half dollars. And mint state, I think they're very deceptive because the center point of the coin and the offers, from the head to the breastplate to the hand to the knee, is usually not struck up, full of like annealing chatter, and can get discolored in a hurry.
So one of the things I'm told is that they didn't give me any trick coins, which means that some of my grades are obviously going to be wrong because I look for artificial color or cleaning, environmental damage, or whatnot. However, when you take into account a coin in a holder, it's already been standardized, it's presented in a clean manner. Typically, they're higher quality coins. So the PCGS graders get these coins raw, so they have to go through it individually, one at a time, to make sure they're not getting fakes or deceptive coins. I don't have that problem right now.
And you can see the center mass is just really mushy. So I give the coin an MS64. Okay, here's one of my favorite coins. It's a 1927 Vermont half dollar. This coin's really pretty. It's got plus luster, circling oily luster on the coin, and it's mostly blast white, save a little bit of discoloration on the high points of the hair on the obverse. Not a lot of hits in the cheek, the jawbone, the forehead. Less truncation in the fields. The catamount is mostly clean. Just the highest points of relief have slight scratchiness to it, but that could be just a strike issue. I give the coin an MS66. I really like it. Okay, here's a dark coin, and it looks like honestly circulated. Most of the details are there, and I can see something underneath the surface of the toning that looks a little bit like luster. But overall, I think this coin is probably going to be borderline AU, but I'm going to give it extra fine 45. Okay, last coin, 1908 D Saint. This one looks circulated to me, but it's not really the nicest example. See some luster breaks and some spotting on the reverse. Some bag marks. I think it was up to me. I think I'm at 62.
On an average day, a PCGS grader will review 800 coins, checking quality of coin, whether it's been cleaned, altered, or whether it's a counterfeit. I've just graded 20 coins in about 30 minutes, and I'm already exhausted. So I'm here with CoinFacts founder and former PCGS President Ron Guth, and he's going to let me know how I did.
All right, here we go. First coin, you wrote 64, and it's a 64.
Hey!
Good start. Okay, second coin is the 1880 silver dollar. You called it a 65. We call it a 63.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that particular coin?
Well, when I was looking at this coin, I just liked I thought it had some nice luster, and it really didn't have too many detracting bag marks. And I've seen 65s that sort of look like this. It wouldn't be a coin that would jump off the bourse floor to me, but I could see it in that holder. But apparently you didn't feel that same way.
Yeah, it's a little marky, bag marky. The toning on the front, you see a lot of fingerprint type toning on it, and that's almost like a negative eye appeal.
Right.
So you knock it down for that. The reverse is nice.
But the obverse carries the coin.
The obverse pretty much has a stronger weight than the reverse. So we got an X there. The next one is a 1936 quarter. You put down 65, we put down 66, and that's close enough. I think when I took this test last time, I put down the same grade you did.
Well, when I look at this coin, this obverse is all there. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a 66 every day, but I looked at the wing, it has that carbon mark, and I just sat there and I thought, if I was buying a 66 coin, would I want that on the coin?
Yeah. Yeah, that has a toning spot on the reverse. It's not that deep. If it was black or raised over the surface, it probably would have a bigger impact. But this is another case where the obverse, carries the coin. So good job on that one. On the next coin, that's a 1924-20. You put down AU details improperly cleaned. We put down AU 55. So you got the AU right.
I just got thrown by the color a little bit. It was sort of a multicolored coin, and the brighter color just seemed flat to me.
I see. That's actually pretty nice color. You can see it has a little toning, a coppery toning spot on the back. So that's pretty much going to tell you that it's original. And this has good eye appeal, and it's just a nice rock solid AU. We should give you partial credit for that one.
Well, you know, I would have body bagged it instead.
The next coin is an 1822 half dollar. You graded it AU 58. We called it AU 55.
So what's the difference for you guys between a 5 and an 8 on a coin like this?
Not much, not much. This coin has really good eye appeal. It's got a lot of original luster, original color. I mean, this is a choice AU, so whether you call it a 55 or a 58, I mean, it's really splitting hairs. This just has maybe a little too much friction over the high points where you look for color changes where the luster is like worn smoother or it becomes dull.
Right.
But that's close. It's not bad. The next coin, number 6, that's an 1885 Morgan dollar. You called it MS66, which is in agreement with what we called it.
Very good.
Good for you. Let's see this coin.
Yeah, this one's like just blast white. I mean, this is the kind of coin that wouldn't last long in a dealer's inventory.
Yeah, it's beautiful white, completely untoned, nice stripe. It's a good coin. So good for you there. Number 7, 1927-20. You called it a 64. We call it a 65.
Yeah, I notice. I guess I'm pretty hard on these St-Gons gold coins because I always see the hits in the central figure. You know, usually in the knee. Sometimes the face is obliterated.
Yeah, on these, you know, you got to, you know, take into account the fact that, you know, they all came over in bags. Most of these came out of Europe from bags. This coin has really tremendous cartwheel luster where it's going all around. So, you know, it gets a little bit of a benefit for that. Number 8 is an 1805 half cent. You called it very good 10. We called it fine 12. That's an extremely minor difference. And I think you would probably see the same result if you showed it to 50 dealers on the floor.
Right, it's just that hair bit more detail you saw than maybe I did when I looked at it.
And the nice thing about this coin, it's really a nice, rich chocolate brown, which is really kind of scarce on circulated half cents or early copper coins, and that's a really desirable to collectors. So we give it a little bonus for that. The next coin is a 1912 1 cent. You called it a 65 red. We called it a 63 red. You got the color right, which is good. And so let's talk about why it's a 63 versus a 64. This coin has a lot of distracting toning on the front, a little bit of fingerprint, just a lot of toning streaks and marks on the front that are just distracting. I mean, if it didn't have that, it would be a 5 red all day long, and maybe even a 6 red.
Yeah, when I made my determination, I just figured out, like, sometimes you see these coins mellow in the holders, you know, over time. Yeah. And I look at it as, well, it's original. It's still mostly red and it's original. So I agree with you that I wouldn't necessarily pick this if there was some fresh looking ones.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't see it, I wouldn't look at that as like hurting the grade as much as the eye appeal.
Right. Next coin, number 10 is an 1882 S dollar. You grade that MS66 dimple. We call that an MS67.
So you don't see the proof-like or deep proof-like fields in that coin? Is that not enough?
No, it has very little reflectivity. I mean, to determine PL or dimple, you put the coin in and see if you can read in the reflection. And this is really just a really bright, hard luster, but really not much reflectiveness. Beautiful coin, awesome color on the front. So we would not call it dimple or even PL, but just a nice 67.
Yeah, so you liked it grade-wise more than I did.
Yes, yes. The next coin is an 1863 nickel. You called it a 67 cameo, and so did we. Good job.
Not every modern proof is a 69.
Right, right. And the other point is you caught that it's a cameo. Cameo is just, it's not all there. A deep cameo has to be just really white and really contrasting from the field. So it's good that you caught that it's a cameo. Because it has a lot of cameo effect to it, but not as much as deep cameo is.
Right.
So good for catching that. Number 12, the 51S half dollar. You called it a 65, we called it a 65. Good job. We're on a roll here. Two in a row.
Starting to feel better about moderns.
Yeah, 13. 13 is a 1904 20. You called it a 61. You called it a 55. We call it a 61. And that is a perennial issue with some of the gold coins that are what we call sliders. There's a fine line between 58 and a 61 or 62. 55 is a trifle harsh on it, but it's a lot of tiny bag marks on it, so I can see where you got it. The thing going for this is it has a lot of original luster, and I think that's why we call it mint state. 14 is a 1902 penny. You call that MS65. You want to look at it and give me a color?
This 1902 penny?
Yeah.
Well, originally I thought this might have been an enhanced coin with color because it's very caramel, kind of cognac color. But I would say it would be a red.
Okay, good. So you called it a 65 red. We called it a 66 red. So there it's
It's a beautiful coin.
minor difference. Yeah, it's a beautiful coin and good effort on that. Yeah, it's got incredible cartwheels, a little bit coppery colored on the reverse, but a very pretty coin. Next coin, 1878 S trade dollar. You call it a 62, we call it a 64.
I just didn't like that it had some sort of a deeper hits on it, some around the periphery. Maybe they just weren't focal enough for.
Yeah, not focal enough, and the color is very attractive for toning, especially on a trade dollar.
It's like nice gallimaufry tone.
Yeah, these come often lackluster, and really if you twirl it in a light, it has really good luster underneath. It does have some bag marks, but that's why it's a 4.
Right.
Yeah. So eye appeal really is a very important factor in grading these coins, much more so than some people believe. So you got to keep that in consideration. The next one's a 1937 Buffalo nickel. You called it a 65. We called it a 64.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, that's pretty close. That's this is a brilliant proof. If you look at it really closely, it has a bunch of speckle white, almost like water spots all over the back, and I think that's what why we called it a 4.
Okay.
But 5 versus 4, good job. 17, the 43S half dollar. You called it a 64. We call it a 66.
Yeah, as I was saying when I was looking at these, like I can't grade Walking Liberty half dollars to save my life. It's that center mass, with the flat hands, the breastplate, the leg. It's like I would buy a slider every day if I didn't have one in a holder.
Yeah. Yeah, S-mints are problematic too because they're typically weakly struck. This is actually a very good strike for a 43S. It's got good luster. So that's actually a very nice coin there for a 43S. If that was a 41, it would be treated a little bit differently. Okay, 18 is the 27 Vermont. You called it a 66. We call it a 64.
Wow.
Yeah, if you look at the high points on the front, which is really a vulnerable area,
Right.
there's some just slight, what appears to be friction or maybe a color change. It's not that major. The rest of the coin is dazzling, so I can see why it might have fooled you in that regard. Okay, two more. The next one is an 1867 quarter. You called it an XF45. We called it a Proof 50. Apparently it's an impaired proof.
Oh yeah, I guess you can see it.
Yeah, which, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't catch that either when I took the grading test.
Yeah, the rim, the dentals, I should have given it away. I just wasn't looking for it. So.
Yeah. You would expect it on a circulated coin anyway, but yeah, there are many coins that started out as proofs and they circulated lightly.
I think this also goes to show why proper grading light is everything, because the fields on this coin would be missed unless you were looking at it in a really good environment.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like the environment we're here. You get your light, but we also have overhead lights. You got a lot of distractions. In the grading room, the graders sit in a cubicle in front of a computer. They have one light source, and the room is darkened. So every grader is in the same exact conditions, and the same conditions all day long. So, and even then, there are differences in grading. What we've learned is that the best graders get it right about 80% of the time.
Right.
But when you go grader to grader to grader, statistically, they all sort of even out. So, all right, last coin. This is a 1908D. No motto. You called it a 62. Congratulations. You hit it right on the mark.
Right, there you go.
Out of 20.
So what's the typical collector, how does the typical collector fare in this test?
Pretty much about right there. Even some of the dealers, we've had 10 out of 20. But as I was talking to you earlier, the key is to be close to that line and not stray so far apart. So if you're consistent, just very close to the line, that's a good thing. You could very easily be trained to be a grader. And a lot of people, they take this test and they think that, oh, I'm doomed, I can never grade. Grading can be learned. And if you spent enough time in the grading room, grading hundreds and thousands of coins, which is really what it's all about, it's experience. I'm sure you'd be a good grader.
Well, the honest truth is I collect world coins. I started collecting U.S. coins as a child, but I gave it up about 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't really handled them. So some of these series I would never have tried to grade on my own before. So I'm kind of surprised I did this well, actually, compared to what I could have turned out.
Well, good job.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If you like this CoinWeek grading video with PCGS, well, why don't you try it yourself? At the Long Beach Expo, PCGS will be holding a coin grading competition. You have to register to enter, and you can do so by calling 1-800-447-8848.